Good afternoon. Welcome to the Alachua County Strategic Planning Community Workshop. We're glad you could spend time with us today. We do have a slate of PowerPoint presentations that we're going to go over, and then we will open it up for questions at the end of the session. And then if you do need technological help, we will be here with laptops set up for after the meeting if you do want to log in and complete the survey at that time. So with that, I would like to go ahead and get us started with some staff introductions. And I'll turn it over to Hester.
Thank you, Donna. My name is Hester Darcy. I am a consultant with KLSA. I also have my colleague Danielle Bragg here. KLSA, we're a consulting firm based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and we're very purpose and mission driven. So working with Alachua County as you're looking out 3, 5, 10 years, seeing what improvements you need to make, what changes you want to make, where you want to be. That's kind of where our bread and butter is. We love working with clients and making a difference. So that's really important to us. So we are excited about that.
Thank you, Hester. And I'm Donna Bradbrook. I work for the county in the Office of Budget and Fiscal Services. And with me today, we have Brandon, who also works in Budget and Fiscal Services.
So what we're really looking to do today is to give you some information about the process that we are facilitating Alachua through in order to develop a strategic plan. Stage 1 is really why we're here today, is to gather input from the community. So we're really looking for helping you understand what the process will be so you know what your role will be. And then also looking at what are those things that are important to you, what's working well today, what could be better today, and as you think out 3, 5, 10 years, where would you like to see the county go? Because it takes a long time to plan those and it takes a lot of work. And so gathering your input, it will inform the work that we do with the staff and the Board of Commissioners. So your feedback is really helpful, and then also wanting to support you with the survey if you have any technical challenges. Thank you. Is this the clicker here? Awesome. So for strategic planning, just as a real high level, in case you've not been a part of strategic planning before, it's really a process to help you think about who we are, who do we want to be, and where do we want to go. So this could be for you as a family, this could be for you as a community, it could be for a federal agency, it could be a client that we're working for that's in the for-profit business, nonprofits. But it really starts with the values and the vision and the mission. So for example, if you are a homemaker and you have children, you probably have a strategic plan for your children, thinking about who do you want them to be. Probably you'll want them to be happy, healthy, successful when they go off into their own in their 18 or 20s, maybe 30s if they're taking a late start. But you want to think about who do you want them to be, what do they need in order to be that person when they get there. And then if you have multiple children, you know it probably looks very different. I have 2 sisters, and for the same household, we are very different people. But essentially we're all happy, healthy, and successful now. So how we did it is really different. And the how is really that bottom of the triangle behind me. So in terms of one of my sisters is an interior designer, another one is a photographer. I do management consulting, right? So the strategies and the priorities that we all had were, what are we interested in? What are we good at? Right? So that's essentially a strategic plan, and then you work hard and you make your way through and taking a look at how you're doing, how are your grades going. Those KPIs, that's key performance indicators. That's just how you're doing, so you can think of it like for grades. For Alachua County, the values, the vision, and the mission, that's all set. You have that on your website, that's available. And what the county is going through right now is a relook at what are our priorities, right? There's a guide from 2016, there's one from a couple years before that, right? Is it still in alignment with what we're looking to do? And then the staff in the county offices has to look at how are we gonna deliver what these services and what these outcomes will look like for our people. So that's strategic planning at a high level. If you have any questions about that, we're happy to answer those questions as well. But that's generally what we're trying to do over the next 6 to 8 months, and today is really the first step of gaining community input. Some of the key dates that we have, we are getting some information from the department staff as well, because they've been given mandates and tasks, and they have day-to-day tasks that they have to do. So in addition to the strategy that they'll be given in a few months, they have those operational tasks that they have to do. So we want to make sure all of that is included in the strategic guide. We consider how much they are currently doing, and then on top of that for strategy, what do they need to be achieving. So we're working with the staff, and we're doing the community sessions today and this evening for each of you, and trying to get your input. And then we'll take that into working with the board of directors, the board of commissioners, and the staff. So there is also a community survey that's available online, and we'll introduce that a little bit more. But that's really where you get to go in and give your detailed feedback about what you're looking for. If you're passionate about the environment, what is it that you're looking for? We want more parks. We want longer days available at parks, right? Being really specific about what you're looking for is helpful for the community to know what they're looking to deliver and what they have to work towards. So that survey is really where you can have detailed input. And so that'll be available and open until April 25th for 2 weeks. We'll work with the board on June 4th and looking at all of the information we've gathered from the community and also from the department staff. What are they currently working on? What are their master plans looking like? And with all that information, what are those top 5, 10, maybe priorities that they have? And what does that mean? What does that look like? And so on June 4th, we'll do a day workshop with them on that. And then we will have them approve the strategic guide once we document all the information that comes out of June 4th. Phase 2 is where we start to work with the staff. If these are the top 5 priorities for the county, what does that mean for your staff in transportation and animal services? What does that mean for you on the day-to-day basis? What do you need to do today and tomorrow that's going to achieve these strategic priorities in a couple of years, 3 to 5 years? And so we'll working with them to develop those action plans, that real bottom of the triangle that we showed you before of strategic planning. And then phase 3 is really implementing those changes, and we'll be available for some support with the staff to look at how are things going. If you've made a plan or an action plan and you find some challenges along the way, we come in with some consulting and advisory to support to say, okay, this is what we're finding, it's not working. What are some things that we can do different so that we are on an upward trajectory to meet the goals and priorities? Okay. All right. For today, we've got some questions that we're going to take from the community. So we've got index cards for those of you who are in person. If you're handy with your phone and you want to use a QR code, you can use this QR code today and submit your questions online. And so that we'll take a look at those and we'll be able to answer those questions. So my colleague Danielle in the back has some index cards for you and pens. So if you want to write those down, we've actually already collected a couple. So I thought it might be good to look at some of those that relate to strategic planning in general, and then maybe if we get more on the survey afterwards. So the first question we got, which of course is just a great question, is where can I get updates on the strategic plan? How's it going? What's going on? And are there any other opportunities to provide feedback? And so I will leave the first question to you, Donna. How will we be able to update the public on the strategic plan and the process?
Yes, so in Alachua County, we try to be very transparent. So we do issue press releases occasionally when information comes out. But certainly any type of board activity, whether it's a workshop or a meeting, those will have agendas that will be out on our website. And I'm sure once we get the final document put together, that will be published in our budget book. It will be published on our website under Budget and Fiscal Services. It'll be passed through to all the departments, and you will probably see it in a lot of our publications as we go forward.
Great, thank you. And so the survey that we have open right now, that'll be open for 2 weeks, and then when we publish the strategic guide that comes out, we'll have that for public comment as well. So we'll make that available. Thank you. Did you have any questions related to the process?
No, I have not received any related to the process yet.
Okay, all right, so you have some for later. Perfect. All right, and so for the community survey, which is really how we want to collect your feedback. So you may have thoughts today. I know that you guys probably have thoughts about how things are going in your community, and we'll listen to those today, but definitely getting them into the survey is a way to have them be documented and counted in the data analysis that we'll be doing prior to the June 4th session. So for the survey, we have laptops available here if you need them. There's also a QR code, and the link is available to this online as well through the press release. So we've got a little bit of information here about strategic planning. And so it's just a long-term guide. You know, where do we want to be in a few years? How are we going to get there? So there's a little blurb on what strategic planning is. There's also some information in here about those services that are managed by Alachua County. And that would be part of the strategic plan. That would be part of your input today. There's also some services that Alachua County does not manage. They maybe contribute to or participate in peripherally, but for those services, they are a little bit separate. And so we wanted to make sure we called that out to remind that for all of you. So again, this QR code will take you to the survey. You can take that survey until April 25th. And as a quick reminder for those county services that are included, you'll see those on the left here. That includes animal resources, business development, community services, court services, all those things that the county oversees. There are a few that are excluded, so public schools, that's all managed by the School Board of Alachua County. Gainesville Regional Utilities manages electricity. And then city streets, those are managed by the City of Gainesville. So those things aren't really going to be covered by this strategic guide, and you have those names of those organizations that manage those. If you do have feedback for them, you can reach out to them directly. Anything to add?
Yes, and certainly you can submit whatever comments you want through the survey process, but just keep in mind that when it comes to the actual Board of County Commissioners making decisions and allocating budget, they would only be able to make decisions and allocate budget towards county services. So we would certainly take the feedback if it involves, roadways within City of Gainesville or building around the university, but we may not be able to effectuate change in the future in those specific areas. So comments are always welcome, but we just want to set that expectation up very early that we can only impact our own services here in Alachua County.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, and so when you go to take the survey, there are a couple of screening questions. We're really looking to understand, based on how you interact with Alachua County, do you own property here? Are you a resident here? Do you go to school here? Do you come here to play at the parks? Do you work here? And so really looking at the needs of our community from a couple of perspectives and striations, right? Our residents might need something different than the students here who might need. So a couple of screening questions up at the top. The full part of the survey asks you about the services how you would currently rate them that you're receiving from the county. What's working well, what's going okay, and what could be better. We'd like to hear all that from you. And then the bulk of the survey that we're really looking forward to is what are those top 4 priorities that are really important to you over the next couple of years? And you probably have a lot of priorities, but really if you had to sit down and name 4, what would those 4 be? We're also really looking for some commentary for you. So as we're working on June 4th with the Board of County Commissioners, we want to be able to say more than just transportation is important or court services is important. What about that is the public really looking for? What would better look like? So the more descriptive that you are in these 2 questions on the survey, the more helpful it is for us and for the staff of Alachua County, because they're the ones who are going to be asked to deliver these services for you. What would better look like? What is it that you're actually needing in transportation or emergency services, those things. So the more texture and comments that you can give us about what you're looking for, what the outcomes look like, the more helpful it is for us to make it real for you and for Alachua County to make it real. And then how would you know if we achieved this goal? What would you see? What would you be experiencing when things were improved or successful? All of those things that we're really looking for. And then we have demographic questions at the end so that we can look and see if there are any particular needs for those who are retired or those who are of college age. People who are living in a different zip code may have different needs than another one. So those demographic questions are just there to see if there's any kind of patterns to the data. So that's the survey. That's really all that there is, and we'll be here to answer any questions if you have. The way that you can help is to complete this survey. Send it to your friend, send it to your groups, your community groups that you're a part of. The more information that we get from the community, the more we're able to help the county commissioners really design a good, practical strategic guide that the staff of Alachua County can then go and make real. So take it, have your friends take it, share it as much as you can. All that would be really helpful. We're really looking for your input. It's a really important part to a lot of the conversations that we've had is this is important to Alachua County. They want to know what their public is looking for and asking for. Now, you had a couple of additional questions. You want to touch on those now?
I did. Somebody asked earlier, what if they have more than one idea that they want to contribute to the strategic plan?
I love it. The more ideas you have, the more input that we get, the more valuable our strategic guide will be. So two of those last two questions in the main part of the survey are open text fields. Put as much as you would like in there, right? So if you have, my first passion is the environment or parks and recreation, put the number 1 and type as much as you would like in there. Really tell us what you're looking for. And then maybe the number 2, if you have another passion that you're really interested in would be emergency services, right? This has been really helpful to me. We need to keep going. This has worked really well. So there is no text limit on that. So you can add as many ideas and priorities as you have in there. So that there's as much space as you need that's available.
And another question we have is, how will the board receive the information submitted on the survey?
Wonderful question. So KLSA, we are collecting this information. So don't include any personal identifying information in there. We're not going to be able to answer any specific questions to your situation or to your neighborhood. But what we will do is we will compile all the information and we'll theme up what people have shared with us. So for example, 80% of the people who completed the survey responded that education is really important to them, or court services is really important to them. And then we would add some texture around what were people looking for. Maybe the hours need to be expanded, or the locations need to be expanded. So we'll really summarize and theme up the information, and we'll share that with the staff and with the Board of County Commissioners. There may be quotes that we include in there, and no identifying information will be shared. So really, what is the public saying? We'll share that in numbers, we'll share that in themes, and we'll also share that in quotes when it really illustrates what people have asked for and looked for. Does that answer that question?
I think so,
Okay.
yes.
Great.
And I have one last question, which I think you might have addressed briefly earlier, but the question was, when will the participants see the results?
Yes. And when you're asking about participants, are you asking about the public, or are you asking about the?
Yes,
The
it
Board of
was
County.
it was a question from the public
From the
asking when they would see the information.
Okay, so once we have this information together, we're going to use that as input into the June 4th meeting. And so the information that we share will be a part of that workshop. So I'm not sure if it's submitted to the public before or as a summary after.
Anything that we include to the board meeting would be attached to the agenda, which is required, so we would do that.
Perfect.
But then the board, when they come up with their ideas, we will compile that information into an actual strategic plan or a strategic guide. And I would bet that it'll probably go back before the Board of County Commissioners a couple of different times for them to make any tweaks to the wording or the intent. But that also would be part of an agendaed meeting, so that would be available through our website and our meeting agendas.
Okay, great. So you'll see that initial information before the June 4th meeting, and then any follow-up meetings will have all that.
Yes, and of course, we don't know how much direction the board is going to give us at the June 4th meeting, so we don't have an adoption date after the June 4th. But I would say, I think our hope is to have everything adopted by the Board of County Commissioners before the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for letting us work with you, Donna. It's been great, and letting us support the county and doing what it needs to do. So thank you.